Your mind is like a river, ever-flowing, unpredictable, and filled with currents that can either guide you forward or sweep you into chaos. It's the most powerful tool you have, capable of shaping your reality and determining the course of your life. But left untamed, it can become your greatest obstacle, leading you into spirals of doubt, fear, and distraction. Imagine living a life where your mind isn't a battleground, but a sanctuary, a place of clarity, focus, and peace. This isn't just a distant ideal, it's a transformation you can achieve by learning to master your thoughts and emotions through the timeless wisdom of Buddhism. To begin this journey, you first need to understand the nature of your mind. The human mind is naturally restless, much like a river that never stops moving. Thoughts, emotions, and distractions flow through it constantly, making it easy to feel overwhelmed. But here's an important truth. This restlessness isn't a problem. It's simply the mind's nature. Fighting it is like trying to stop the river's flow. It only leads to frustration. The key isn't to suppress or control your thoughts, but to observe them with awareness. This awareness is like shining a light in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see clearly and recognize the patterns driving your thoughts and emotions. Maybe you notice that your mind tends to wander during certain times of the day, or that specific situations trigger worry. By observing without judgment, you gain insights into how your mind works. And once you understand these patterns, you can begin to guide your mind toward calmness and focus. Awareness turns the unknown into the known, and when you know how your mind operates, you stop being its prisoner and start becoming its master. But awareness alone isn't enough. You need self-discipline to harness the power of your mind. Without discipline, the mind behaves like an untamed horse, wild and difficult to control. Cultivating self-discipline means creating habits and routines that keep you grounded, even when distractions arise. Start with small, manageable steps. For example, set aside a specific time each day for mindfulness or meditation, even if it's just 5 minutes. The key is consistency. Even on days when you don't feel like it, commit to showing up for yourself. Over time, this regular practice strengthens your ability to stay focused and committed to your goals. Self-discipline also involves saying no to distractions and harmful habits. When you feel the urge to scroll endlessly through social media or engage in negative self-talk, pause and ask yourself, does this serve my higher purpose? Discipline isn't about being harsh on yourself. It's about being kind enough to guide yourself toward what truly matters. The more disciplined you become, the more control you have over your mind, and eventually, this consistent effort transforms your thoughts into a powerful force for clarity and peace. Focus is another essential aspect of mastering your mind. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Notifications, social media, and endless streams of information constantly compete for your attention. Without focus, your energy becomes scattered and your mind falls into chaos. But focus, like any muscle, can be strengthened with practice. Meditation is one of the most effective ways to do this. Start with a simple breathing exercise. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and focus on your breath as it moves in and out. When your mind inevitably wanders, gently bring your attention back to your breath. Each time you do this, you're training your mind to return to the present moment. Another way to enhance focus is by setting clear priorities. Decide what's most important and dedicate uninterrupted time to those tasks. Turn off notifications, put your phone in another room, and create an environment that supports concentration. Begin with short periods of focused work, maybe 10 minutes at a time, and gradually increase the duration as your focus improves. As you build this habit, you'll notice a sense of calm and clarity replacing the chaos. Equally important is learning the power of detachment. Buddhism teaches that attachment to things, people, or outcomes is one of the primary causes of suffering. When you cling too tightly to desires or expectations, you create a mental dependency that leads to frustration, anxiety, or disappointment. But detachment isn't about indifference or giving up. It's about freeing yourself from unhealthy attachments that weigh you down. Think of detachment as learning to let go. For instance, instead of fixating on achieving a perfect result, focus on doing your best and accepting whatever outcome arises. This shift allows you to approach life with flexibility and peace. Letting go doesn't mean you're passive. It means you recognize what you can control and release the rest. Detachment also applies to emotions. When you feel anger, fear, or sadness, affirmations and gratitude are also powerful tools for feeding your mind positively. Affirmations are statements you repeat to yourself to reinforce positive beliefs. For example, saying, "I am capable of overcoming challenges," can help replace self-doubt with confidence. Gratitude, on the other hand, shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have. Take a few minutes each day to reflect on what you're grateful for, whether it's the warmth of the sun, a supportive friend, or the simple fact that you woke up today. These small moments of appreciation train your mind to seek out joy and abundance. Quiet time is just as important. In a world filled with constant noise, giving yourself moments of stillness can be transformative. Whether through meditation, a walk in nature, or simply sitting in silence, these moments act as a mental reset. They help you process thoughts, release tension, and gain clarity. Mastering your mind is a lifelong journey, but the rewards are immeasurable. As you cultivate discipline, focus, detachment, and positive mental habits, you'll notice a profound shift in how you experience life. You'll no longer be at the mercy of distractions or negative thoughts. Instead, you'll be the one in control, guiding your mind toward peace, purpose, and joy. As you continue your journey of mastering your mind, you'll notice that one of the most powerful tools at your disposal is acceptance. Acceptance isn't about resignation or giving up on change. It's about acknowledging reality as it is, without resistance. Many people mistake acceptance for passivity, but it's actually the opposite. When you accept the present moment, you stop wasting energy fighting what's beyond your control, and you redirect that energy toward meaningful action. It's like stepping out of a tug-of-war with life and realizing you don't have to pull the rope. You can simply let go and find peace. Buddhism teaches that much of our suffering comes not from external circumstances, but from our resistance to them. We resist pain, rejection, failure, and uncertainty, believing that life should be free of discomfort. But discomfort is a natural part of life, and when you accept this, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. Acceptance allows you to face challenges with grace, knowing that pain is temporary and growth is always possible. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What can I learn from this experience?" For example, imagine you've experienced a setback at work or in a relationship. The initial reaction may be frustration, disappointment, or self-criticism, but acceptance shifts the narrative. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, you acknowledge the reality of the situation. This happened. It's painful, but it's part of my journey. With this mindset, you create space for solutions, healing, and personal growth. You understand that setbacks aren't permanent. They're stepping stones that lead to greater understanding and resilience. To practice acceptance, start with small, everyday challenges. If you're stuck in traffic, instead of getting angry or impatient, take a deep breath and remind yourself that this moment is beyond your control. Notice the tension in your body and consciously release it. Acceptance doesn't change the situation, but it changes how you experience it. Over time, you'll find that acceptance becomes a habit. helping you navigate both minor inconveniences and major life challenges with a sense of calm. Acceptance also applies to your inner world. Many of us judge ourselves harshly for having certain thoughts or emotions. We think, "I shouldn't be feeling this way," or "Why can't I be stronger?" But emotions, like the weather, are natural and ever-changing. You wouldn't judge the rain for falling or the wind for blowing, so why judge yourself for feeling sad, angry, or anxious? When you accept your emotions as they are, without labeling them as good or bad, you allow them to pass through you without becoming stuck. One effective practice for accepting your emotions is mindfulness meditation. Sit quietly and observe your breath, allowing yourself to become aware of any thoughts or feelings that arise. When you notice an emotion, name it gently. "I'm feeling sadness," or "I'm feeling anxiety." Don't try to push it away or hold on to it. Simply acknowledge its presence and let it be. Over time, you'll develop the ability to experience emotions fully without being overwhelmed by them. You'll understand that emotions are like waves. They rise, peak, and eventually recede. Once you've embraced acceptance, the next step in mastering your mind is cultivating patience. In a fast-paced world that values instant gratification, patience is a rare and powerful virtue. It allows you to persevere through challenges, delays, and uncertainties without becoming frustrated or discouraged. Patience isn't about waiting passively. It's about maintaining faith in the process, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Buddhism often compares life to planting a seed. When you plant a seed, you don't expect it to sprout and bear fruit overnight. You water it, nurture it, and give it time to grow. The same principle applies to personal growth, relationships, and goals. When you cultivate patience, you understand that progress takes time and that setbacks are part of the journey. You stop rushing toward the future and start appreciating the present moment, knowing that every step you take is contributing to your growth. To develop patience, practice slowing down and being fully present. When you're faced with a challenge or delay, instead of reacting with frustration, take a moment to pause and breathe. Remind yourself that growth is happening, even if you can't see it yet. Trust that the effort you're putting in will eventually bear fruit. This mindset not only reduces stress, but also enhances your ability to stay focused and committed to your goals. Another important aspect of patience is being kind to yourself when you make mistakes. Too often, we expect ourselves to have everything figured out and become frustrated when we fall short. But patience means recognizing that growth is a process of trial and error. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. Instead of criticizing yourself, offer words of encouragement. "I'm doing my best, and that's enough." When you treat yourself with patience and compassion, you build resilience and confidence. As you cultivate acceptance and patience, you'll also discover the power of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most liberating practices for mastering your mind because it frees you from the emotional burdens of anger, resentment, and guilt. When you hold on to grudges or regret, you trap yourself in a cycle of suffering. Forgiveness is the key to breaking free. Forgiving others doesn't mean excusing their actions or forgetting the pain they caused. It means choosing to let go of the emotional weight so you can move forward with peace. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It only harms you. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It allows you to release the past and focus on creating a better present and future. Self-forgiveness is just as important, if not more so. Many of us carry guilt and shame over past mistakes, replaying them in our minds and punishing ourselves for what we could have done differently. But holding on to this guilt doesn't change the past. It only keeps you stuck. Self-forgiveness is an act of self-compassion. It's recognizing that you're human, that mistakes are part of life, and that growth comes from learning, not from self-punishment. To practice forgiveness, start by acknowledging the pain or guilt you're holding on to. Allow yourself to feel it fully, but don't let it define you. Reflect on the lessons you've learned and how you've grown since the experience. Then visualize yourself letting go of the burden. You might imagine placing it in a box and setting it aside, or watching it dissolve like mist in the morning sun. With each breath, affirm your intention to forgive. I release this pain and choose peace. Gratitude can also help you let go of resentment and guilt. When you focus on what you've learned and how you've grown, you shift your perspective from pain to appreciation. You begin to see challenges and mistakes as valuable parts of your journey rather than as sources of regret. Gratitude transforms forgiveness into a healing process, allowing you to move forward with a lighter heart. As you integrate acceptance, patience, and forgiveness into your life, you'll notice that your mind becomes a more peaceful and supportive place. You're no longer weighed down by resistance, frustration, or regret. Instead, you approach life with grace, resilience, and an open heart. The challenges that once overwhelmed you now serve as opportunities for growth, and the mistakes that once haunted you become stepping stones on your path to wisdom and strength. Mastering your mind isn't about eliminating negative thoughts or emotions. It's about changing your relationship with them. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose how you respond. And with each choice, you're creating a life of purpose, peace, and fulfillment. As you grow in acceptance, patience, and forgiveness, you begin to experience life in a fundamentally different way. No longer consumed by the need to control every outcome or haunted by past mistakes, you discover a sense of freedom and lightness. This freedom allows you to embrace life's uncertainties with an open heart, knowing that whatever comes your way, you have the strength and wisdom to navigate it. You're no longer reacting impulsively to events, you're responding thoughtfully, with clarity and purpose. A powerful tool for deepening this mastery is detachment. Detachment is often misunderstood as emotional coldness or apathy, but in the context of Buddhist wisdom, it's the opposite. Detachment is a form of emotional freedom. It means you're fully engaged in life, but not attached to outcomes that are beyond your control. You give your best effort, but you release the need for things to turn out a certain way. Detachment allows you to enjoy life without being held captive by expectations. Consider the example of a gardener planting a seed. They nurture it, water it, and ensure it receives sunlight, but they don't control when or how it will grow. They trust the process. Similarly, when you practice detachment, you do your best in any given situation and then surrender the outcome. This doesn't mean you stop caring or trying, it means you stop fixating on what's outside your influence. When you let go of rigid expectations, you create space for life to surprise you. Sometimes, the outcomes you didn't plan for turn out to be exactly what you needed. To cultivate detachment, start by identifying the areas of your life where you're overly attached. It could be your career, relationships, or personal goals. Ask yourself, am I clinging to a specific outcome? And is this attachment causing me stress or disappointment? Once you've identified these attachments, practice releasing them through mindful reflection. Remind yourself that while you can control your actions, you can't control external factors. Trust that life is unfolding as it should, and focus on what you can do in the present moment. One effective practice for reinforcing detachment is to repeat affirmations that encourage surrender and trust. Phrases like, "I let go of what I can't control," or "I trust the process of life," can help rewire your mind to embrace uncertainty with grace. Over time, you'll find that detachment becomes a natural part of your mindset, freeing you from the emotional roller coaster of clinging to outcomes and expectations. As you strengthen your ability to let go, you'll also cultivate equanimity, a state of mental calmness and balance, especially in difficult situations. Equanimity is the ability to remain centered and composed, regardless of external circumstances. When you have equanimity, you don't overreact to success or failure. You understand that both are temporary and neither defines your worth. This inner stability allows you to face challenges without being overwhelmed by them. In Buddhist teachings, equanimity is compared to a mountain, firm, unshaken by the wind or rain. No matter what storms arise, the mountain remains steady. Similarly, when you cultivate equanimity, you develop the strength to stay grounded, even when life feels chaotic. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions or ignore difficulties. It means you acknowledge them without letting them control you. To develop equanimity, practice observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment. When something triggers you, instead of reacting immediately, pause and take a few deep breaths. Create space between the stimulus and your response. Ask yourself, is this reaction serving my well-being, or is it adding to my stress? By practicing this pause, you can choose a more thoughtful and balanced response. Meditation is a powerful practice for building equanimity. During meditation, you learn to sit with discomfort, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, without trying to escape it. You observe it, breathe through it, and watch it pass. Over time, this practice trains your mind to remain calm and centered in real-life situations. You develop the ability to face challenges without being consumed by them, and you begin to see setbacks as temporary detours, not permanent roadblocks. Another key element of mental mastery is cultivating self-awareness. Self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth because it allows you to recognize your patterns, triggers, and blind spots. Without self-awareness, you're likely to repeat the same mistakes or fall into reactive behaviors without understanding why. But when you develop self-awareness, you gain the power to break free from negative cycles and make intentional choices that align with your goals and values. One way to enhance self-awareness is through reflective journaling. Set aside time each day to write about your thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Ask yourself questions like, what triggered me today and how did I respond? Or, did my actions align with my values? By reflecting on your day, you gain insights into your behavior and identify areas for improvement. Over time, journaling helps you recognize patterns and make conscious adjustments that lead to growth. Another powerful practice for developing self-awareness is seeking feedback from others. Sometimes we're blind to our own habits and behaviors, and an outside perspective can provide valuable insights.